Good morning. So it's a beautiful day today. One of those days you just have to really be grateful for the weather. You know, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, the sun's shining, it's absolutely gorgeous. Spring in full blossom. So today we're going to do a little start on the how and why of classical work in hand. I say a little start because we'll probably do some follow-up ones, maybe for In Bing's story, because this is great work for him to, for getting him back in work. And we're going to use him in our video today. So I'm going to just read a little description from the wonderful Nuno book, Classical Principles from the Art of Training Horses. You know, he just describes it so perfectly, and it saves me faffing around stretching things out. So the work in hand is a valuable aid in the training of the horse, because he learns through this work, when it's done correctly, to collect himself, to round himself, and to carry himself forward in balance, and to move laterally and to bend, to rein back and to mobilize himself. It's very delicate work, and if it's done badly, instead of giving beneficial results, it can make the horse fearful of the whip and overexcite him. So that is a warning, you know, it is very delicate work, which doesn't mean you should be scared to try it. You know, it just means you need a bit of awareness to make sure, or to keep an eye on your horse's expression, as we always say. Okay, so that's him clean. Well, not really cleaned. There was a big thunderstorm last night and he rolled over in the mud, so we've got the worst of the mud off. He's still looking a bit yellow, I'm afraid, but he's so sensitive to the water, it's a bit too chilly to shower him this morning. Anyway, so equipment, we're just using a simple snaffle bridle here with egg butt snaffle. If you're working your horse in a double bridle, you can always use that if you're good at using the 4 reins. The classical work in hand is best done with a bit, and we might, if you needed, you could add some flexions of the jaw into that as well, which we won't be doing today, but we could do that in another video. So apart from the snaffle bridle, the only other thing we need is a stick of some kind. So I'm going to use this one because it just feels so nice in the hand. This is what Miguel always used. These are from membrillo, which is a custard apple tree. And they just have these very fine, long branches. But you can also just use a normal dressage whip, schooling whip, or, anything. It has to be about that length. So what's that, about 1 metre and a bit, or, yeah. Just so that when you're standing at the horse's head, you can reach the whole of the horse's body. You know, we've spoken there about why we do it for the horse. For the rider, it's a fantastic work on practicing our feel and timing. We can observe the horse as we're doing it. We can practice our posture, our position. We can observe and see the whole of the horse's body and relate that to how we feel, you know, what's going on. All the work we do on the ground is absolutely relevant to when we get on the horse. So it's all great practice later for the ridden work. Work in hand seems to be a bit of a dying art, which is a shame because it is a very valuable work and a great way just to warm your horse up. You know, if you have a more advanced horse and you're just going to do a bit of dressage work or whatever, it's a wonderful gymnastic, you know, just to warm up a little bit, give him some 2-track work, rein back, whatever, just to get all his muscles moving, get him gathered together and rounded up. So before we start, it's important to make sure your horse is not afraid of the whip. We want that to give him signals. So we're going to use it to ask for energy, ask for movement. We're also going to use it to ask him to halt by gently laying it on his hindquarters, just so he really understands what that means. But we're just going to take a look at how you hold the reins for doing this. So you hold the reins, actually, you hold it the same way you would as if you were riding. So if you start with your hands up there in riding position, and then what's going to be your outside hand, slide it down towards the horse's shoulder and turn your fingernails up to the sky. And that hand is also going to hold the whip. And then your other hand is going to be, what will be your inside hand, is going to be right up close to the bit, to the horse's mouth. So one of the trickiest parts of this actually is walking backwards. So if you feel uncomfortable walking backwards, I mean, you can walk slightly side on, but maybe just take a moment to practice walking backwards, because it's the best position to be able to really observe your horse. And we're going to also be very attentive that our arms stay in the same position they would as if we're riding. So you can always do a turn of your shoulders, take a breath, just let the shoulder blades come together behind your back, let the elbows drop down at your sides, and make sure you have a stable center and grounding feel in your body, so your arms can hang naturally and there's some strength behind the softness to give support, and then your wrists can stay flexible so your hands can stay soft. So be very aware of the feel in your arms. If you notice your arms are getting tired or sore, then that's a sure sign that there's too much tension, and you need to find a way to release that tension and be soft. You know, like I read from Nuno in the beginning, it's very important that this work is done delicately and tactfully. He has done a little bit of this before, although he hasn't worked for a long, long time. Apart from me, he's done a little bit of long reining recently. We've been trying to get him back into work. So it's good for him to go over the basics. And if you've never done it before, this is how you would start. So it's much easier to start off in a place where you have a wall or a fence. So you can use that to control the outside of the horse until you get used to the feel in the reins. So we're just going to start going around the outside of the arena in both directions and just practicing halting and walking on. So to halt, I'm going to stop myself, stop my body, let out a deep breath and just sink a little bit into my joints and place my stick on his hindquarters. To walk on, I'm going to energize myself, come up into a more active posture and start to move. I'm not going to move until he comes with me. I can move a bit on the spot, but I'm not going to advance backwards to me, forward to him, until he comes in motion with me. When you ask your horse to halt, make sure he doesn't pass you. And if he does, you can correct that by asking him to take a step back. And then the next time, try to do it better by preparing him. Ask some half halts first, slow down the walk, and then halt. So here this second time, he's much better. I got it right this time. And in between, it's always good to just take a moment of relaxation, take a break, have a walk around, nice deep breaths, and just take some moments for you and the horse to both relax. Munyeko's never done this before, so we thought you better watch and see if he could learn it as well. So you can get very creative with this work and try all different kinds of combinations. Good exercises are shoulder in, halt and shoulder in position, and walk off again in shoulder in position. Also changing from shoulder in to quarters in, then you just change the bend. So the shoulder in, we'd have the bend on the side you're on, and then you can bend the horse to the opposite side away from you to do your quarters in or half pass. And you can do that across the arena. You can do small circles in that movement so it becomes close to a pirouette kind of exercise. Some reining back's always a very good exercise. You can get creative with that as well, you know, slow and steady, and once it's slow and steady you can add more energy, you can do it in turns. Then we're going to move on to doing walk-trot transitions, trot, halt, rein back, trot transitions. And if you keep working on that, it's a good preparation towards the piaffe. So we're just slowing the trot down as much as we can, and see if we can get close to having a few steps on the spot. Okay, well, thank you for being with us today. I hope that's helpful. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. The 2-track work, it's a great opportunity to practice your timings, because you can see when the horse's foot's on the ground is the moment to touch to ask it to move. So that would be the same moment with your leg when you're riding. To touch, wait for him to step over, and then touch again. Yeah, there's so much in it. There's so much you can do with it. It's great fun. So have a go. Take lots of time to practice. Just really master being able to walk straight, halt, and walk on with your horse straight. We need a bit more practice in that. We did some very wonky halts there, but yeah, it's been a long time. Okay, so please get in touch if you have any questions. You can email us on the address down below. Thank you for your time.